Hit him with it. Hit him with it. Here we go. First try. I haven't pressed it yet. Here we go. I haven't. Dang it.
Go higher. Higher.
I'm high. I'm as high as can be. Not referring to substances, but a remote.
My head just like is a satellite.
What the heck?
Put it up to your chin.
I haven't been snapping.
Maybe that only works for car remotes.
Oh!
That was first try and everything.
I know audio listeners. There's probably so many people that are like,
hard.
oh, what's this Bogey Bro Banter podcast they have? And they click on it, and the first few seconds is just some kind of happy song, and then us being like, oh, wait, no, oh, and
so
then
high.
Like, why
You're
am
so
I,
high.
Yeah, like, what am I listening to?
Welcome into the Bogey Bro
We probably
Banter.
don't get any new listeners.
Probably not.
That's okay. You
That's
guys
all right.
are all we need.
You guys are all we need.
Banter squad.
If you're wondering what the banter is, we don't know. We just sit down with a mic in front of us, no agenda, and just kind of talk.
It's fun. It's very therapeutic.
I'll tell you what I do know.
Yeah. What do you know?
I know about my favorite jerky.
That was smooth.
Are you going to tell us about it?
Speaking of segues.
Today's sponsor of the banter is Double G Jerky. Double G Craft Jerky, I should mention. The disc golf jerky poster child, if you will. They've got a whole bunch of flavors. We're talking about hot boom sauce, garlic lover's dream, Nate Sexton sweet and spicy. That's a really good one. I think my favorite is teriyaki. Absolutely bussin'.
Classic.
They also, Double G supports they have a Double G Children's Foundation. Every bag sold contributes to the promotion of disc golf to the youth. They've bought disc and baskets for inner city children and donated thousands to families in need of money for events. With every bag of the McBeast and Max Weight flavors sold, money is donated to the Paul Macbeth Foundation. Those will have the Paul Macbeth Foundation logo on the bag. They also offer a 1 ounce bag that's a huge hit for player packs. Awesome snack to get in your players pack there. Also, if you want a hat like mine, you can get this on the site as well. I wear this hat all the time just because it's a cool logo. And I love supporting Double G. So Double G Jerky, right now you can get 10% off your order with code FOUNDATION on the website. So make sure to check that out. Delicious jerky. And they're our gracious sponsor of the show today.
It is delicious jerky.
Very delicious.
Jerking my knee, you know?
Yep.
I wish I could have it. I could have the Eagles vegan one.
What?
Does Eagles still have the vegan one?
Well, sure.
Because he's not vegan anymore.
It's not vegan.
Oh, good point.
Or are they going to
Poser.
make a new? Are
Just kidding.
they going to make a
like
new Eagle? one?
Eagle Reformed, and it's just like the most anti-vegan. It's
And
just
it's like
100%.
Martin Luther nailing a thesis on the bag. You know what I mean?
Just beef jerky.
Yeah.
Eagle
I feel like,
Reformed.
when are we getting you
funny.
tested again,
That is
man?
funny.
I need to get tested. My mom's back to eating beef.
Yeah, but
My mom had
she had
it.
a short stint.
You
though.
definitely need to get tested. Wait, are you talking about for alpha-gal?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I need to get tested again. But I still it's gonna be scary if I have it.
It's gonna be scary, but it's gonna be fun.
So Lizzie's cousin's dad, but not her uncle.
Okay.
Cousin by marriage,
Okay.
not my cousin. Her cousin married someone, his dad.
Okay.
There. I don't know what that makes him to.
I'm not
her.
sure where we are, but
Anyways, that dude had alpha gal, and then he got tested, and he doesn't have it anymore. But he has no taste for beef. Beef kind of still
I
not really
can
grosses
imagine.
him out, but
It's
he
spooks
doesn't
you.
want it.
It
That makes
spooks
sense.
you.
I'm I think that's where I would be.
You get so accustomed. I would say that
A cheeseburger sounds good to me, but I don't have any steak cravings. Bacon every once in a while, but I like turkey bacon, so I'm happy with turkey
I
bacon.
feel like
It'd be more so I could have Bojangles again.
I say it would be like the weird
I
nuances.
could go eat McDonald's again.
Yeah, the fried stuff, like fried in lard, or gelatin, based things like that. I feel like it'd be those more so than being oh, I just want to eat a steak.
Well, it'd be more so I wouldn't have to ask anything. If I go to a restaurant and order chicken, it wouldn't matter. It wouldn't matter what it's fried in or anything like
wrecked.
that. Whereas now I have to be hey, excuse me, what oil do you fry in? And then every time they're I got no clue. And then they walk to the back, or a lot of times they'll be well, I know it's not peanut. And I'm well, that's not the problem.
Yeah, I know. People, how pretentious of them.
Well, it's fair.
No, it's
That's
not
probably
fair.
the most common.
There's nothing fair about your
That's
allergy.
probably the most common thing is hey, what oil is it? And they're oh, it's not peanut. And everyone's oh, okay, perfect. Then how
dare they?
They run into me, and I'm that's not the problem.
That's
And then if a restaurant doesn't fry in lard, most people don't realize that it's a normal Southern thing to fry in lard.
Yeah.
So you go to a restaurant that's not a Southern restaurant, but you're in the South, so I have to ask.
Yeah.
And then they're well, what oil can it be fried in? And I'm lard. And they're oh, no. We don't. I'm like, well, you'd be surprised.
You would be surprised.
Listen, man, it's not good for you, but the flavor's there, man.
Yeah.
The flavor's there.
I actually fry everything in Wagyu bone marrow.
Yeah.
I've never had bone marrow, but let me
You've had
tell you,
gelatin.
I would very much like to have it.
I've heard it is incredible. I mean, it was
I've heard it's just steak butter.
You're watching the Liver King back in the day?
Yeah.
And by back in the day, I mean like a few months ago before he got exposed for doing steroids. Duh. He would eat some pretty wild and stuff, but like the bone marrow I have heard is like pretty incredible.
Yeah, I see everybody that I see.
Not sure about like the testicles he was eating on a regular basis.
Yeah, that's interesting.
That spooks me a bit. Do you know what they call those? Like with bull testicles?
Yeah, Rocky Mountain oysters.
Rocky Mountain oysters.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
What?
I said gabagool.
Gabagoo.
What position in life would you need to be in to lie about being steroid tested?
That position where you're promoting a lifestyle that you're claiming.
Yes.
This is what makes me look like this, not steroids.
But how? I guess I'm more saying
That's pretty much the
I
position.
will say with the way that he looked, it wasn't only steroids.
What?
How would you get to that position? It's more so where I'm going down, I guess.
What do you mean?
Like
you start.
You clearly take steroids.
Mm-hmm.
You get ripped. You get jacked.
Yeah.
Okay. But then instead of just like promoting supplements and never claiming I'm all natural, you're on steroids, you get jacked, you're huge, and then you just lie to everyone thinking you're not going to get found out.
I believe that the Liver King guy totally probably heard about and maybe even bought into the idea of like the natural living or like the primal living like thing. Like I believe that he probably bought into that, but it doesn't change the fact. Like I think once he bought in, he probably, or maybe once he started getting successful, like promoting that, like seeing that it was working on me, was just thinking like, well, you know, I've already been on gear or whatever. Like it's only going to help my marketing. Like, I don't know. A lot of guys just like need to look like that. Like that's like a big part of their personality. So I don't know. I don't know if like what came first. Like if he was like, I'm just going to like jump into this niche so there's money to be made, or if he was like got passionate about it and then was like, well, there is some money to be made here. I mean, he had one of the more fascinating social media characters we've ever seen.
It's just more so like you can have that and just accept, like just never tell everyone you're not on steroids. So just like never.
Yeah, I mean, he
never say it. He was like publicly, constantly saying like, "Yo, this is all natural." Like people claim I'm on steroids. That makes no sense. I'm not.
He definitely backed himself.
And then meanwhile, like he's on a crap ton of.
I guess
what is it? What's HGH or whatever?
Yeah. You think you're bulletproof? Like I think emails got leaked. Like that's what ended. Like
what are you doing?
He had no reason to think, I guess, that he was going to get discovered because, like, you know, technically, like if you're not getting drug tested and you don't get emails leaked, like nobody has any way to actually know. Because I think that's like a lot of the allure, I think, of guys who are like on steroids but are promoting something and claiming they're not is like. Everybody like will immediately say, well, yeah, you're obviously on gear. You're obviously on this or that. But like, you don't really know. You'll never actually know until you get the I mean, maybe you can if you know enough to like see
the one thing signs. That like that sucks about the whole thing with Liver King is that because he did it in such a stupid way and because he presented such an unsustainable, dumb lifestyle, that obviously didn't have anything to do with how he looked. Because, well, I mean, obviously his body is not only steroids. Like, it takes a little bit of work as well.
Sure.
But
steroids
take
work to get to there.
But still, since he did that, it probably just took down the name of eating that stuff in general. Because
that's actually good.
Take
down the name of eating just raw livers and bull
testicles. That's what I'm saying.
That's
what I'm saying. He was doing it in a very stupid way. Raw liver and stuff like that, yes. You should not do that. But beef organs are really, really good for you.
There are.
Like and it's not like but you might get there are
parts
very,
of
very
his.
Good for you.
There are plenty of
heart is really good for you. Liver is beef liver.
Is Konner the new Liver King?
No, I am just a fan.
You're on gear. I knew it.
No, I'm just a fan of foods that are good for you, and liver is extreme.
he did have good habits. Like there
beef
were
organs. They make beef organ
I can
tablets.
just see the social clip where I'm slowly morphing you into Liver King as you're sitting there.
No, they make like beef organ tablets that are like pill capsules.
Yeah, Liver King makes them.
He's the Liver King, bro, 'cause Liver
just
is
have
king.
like basically like the
Breakfast, lunch, and
extracted
dinner.
nutrients from beef organs in them that you take, and they're really really good for you. It's not like a crazy like conspiracy. Oh, this might be. It's like no, scientifically this is very good. For
There
you.
were certain things for sure that he promoted that were.
But he made
healthy,
everybody that says what I just said look like a crazy person
he did it in
because
such
he's a crazy
excess
person.
and to such a dramatic level, and like he almost like would scare people off with like some of those meals that dude was putting down. And the other thing is like, yeah, like there was no balance in his diet either. Like it couldn't.
Yeah,
it
the
was
reason
wild,
why he
bro.
got viral was because he had such an
He was-
extreme, and he
He
knew
would
that.
throw down like 10. The best is when he got like at the beginning it was very like ridiculous, like, oh, I'm just gonna go ahead and eat 10 like bacon cheeseburger patties along with just all this crap. And then eventually later down the line he hired a chef, and the meals started getting like a lot more refined and like still like pretty intense, but like there were some dishes you were like, okay, that's almost borderline normal. Like he just kind of like the chef, you could tell the chef was like trying his best not to smear his name by just throwing a heart on a plate and be like, eat it. But
it.
Liver King, dude, and hit like the whole family situation too.
I don't know anything about what you're about to say.
I'm just saying, like he has like a wife and like I think 2 kids, like 2 sons or something, and like you would see certain clips that it was just like, man, they got a weird thing going on over there, and like he like appeared to have a lot of money, like I'm guessing from selling supplements and whatnot.
Yeah, he owns
what a heck of
multiple
what a
supplement
market that
companies.
is, man. I'm telling you, like the health like supplement market is absolutely nuts, and I went into
It's because everybody wants a quick fix.
yeah, I don't ever go into like vitamin stores really, but there was one. There's a GNC in the mall, and across the way was a Bath and Body Works that a bunch of women that were browsing, as in my wife, mother-in-law, sister-in-law. They were all browsing in there, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna walk across because
Let me go into the protein powder.
I was
store.
like, let me just browse around. Like I never walk in here, and like. You want to talk about overwhelmed?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, you've got some like creatine that basically says like it's like rocket launcher, chop your head off brand. Like
I think I've seen those in the convenience stores next to the registers.
Yeah. Like there's
There's a rhino on them.
yeah. Basically the same thing. There's just like some
That's what Liver King was on.
and it'll be like sour gummy worm punch you in the face flavor.
Oh, like the ghost stuff, pre-workout.
like there's just crazy stuff.
Pre-workout's terrifying.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
trust any of it. I'm scared of all of it.
Well, it's like meant to like give you the tingles.
It's like I don't understand. This is pre-workout, but the main people that drink it are all like gamers.
yeah.
Well, that's a different thing. That's a whole different
You
thing.
know, like, and most of the stuff in that store, you really absolutely do not need. You know, the market there is number one part of the market is they're fun drinks, right? Oh, this one
and they
tastes
get me
like
with it.
this one tastes like a freaking bombsicle or whatever. Like, yeah, there's
Rocket pop.
Right, like that's the main market there is like you're basically buying a fun beverage to drink at the gym.
Yeah.
And then obviously there's the market too of like this one's going to energize you, this one's going to bulk you. And like some of the products in there's real things to be done with, but like oh my gosh, I walked in there and I was just like, man, I've navigated a good bit of this. But the funny thing is if you talk to most people that are like in the fitness and exercise science world, like the reason that most of those products are getting promoted by like fit looking people is because they're being paid, right? Like there's not a ton of like experts or doctors or people in exercise science that'll tell you to take many or any of those supplements.
Well, that's what like when because I've been looking at a lot of stuff with running over the last I don't know year or whatever, and there's a lot of stuff like with running you need a lot of like electrolytes and carbs pre-workouts and stuff like that. Not pre-workouts, but like carbs pre-run, gels during your run, electrolytes post-run, blah, blah, all of this stuff. And like when you're reading it, like a lot of the electrolyte thing that I have, I think it's 350 milligrams of sodium per serving, and the serving's supposed to be per like hour-long run.
Yeah.
But then they also sell an electrolyte that's like 500 milligrams of sodium. And like you're reading all of it, and like I already have a pretty salt heavy diet because it's just the foods I eat naturally.
Yeah.
And like your whole life you're taught sodium's bad. in general. Like if you just
Yeah.
like oversalt
High
your food,
sodium.
and for the most part, that's true. Well, a lot of studies say that's true. You can find studies that say it's not, but it's like high blood pressure can lead to strokes, blah, blah, blah.
Sure.
But like, I think where the line is with supplements is like, if you are running really long distances, like if you are doing marathon or like 10-mile long
key,
runs,
yeah.
then you are sweating out enough sodium that
misjudge.
you need.
Right.
You need to be taking 500 milligrams of sodium post run.
Yeah.
But the problem is, if like this morning I ran 3 miles.
Yeah.
I didn't take anything post run.
Yeah.
Because I ran 3
There's
miles.
no need.
But like you have your casual runner that's like, oh well, I watched so and so online and they're promoting this electrolyte, and you run and you barely sweat at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you just chug down 500 milligrams of sodium. You're like, heck yeah.
It's like any other hobby where if you get in, the most
all of a
fun
sudden, my
part
left
about the
arm
hobby
hurts.
is like the stuff, right? And because
Yeah.
it makes you look like an expert and it's fun. So like people misjudge. Like when you talk about running, you don't need supplementing, especially mid-run supplementing, until you get like past, you're getting 8, 9, 10 miles.
No,
on.
yeah. Like I'll take a
you gotta
gel. I only bring gels with me if I'm running like close to 10 miles, and
Yeah.
I'll take one at mile. Like I'll take one before, which now I have a drink I take before, but I'll go drink before that has carbs, electrolytes, all of that.
Right.
Gel in the middle at like the 5-mile run mark, or about when I get to around 45 minutes to an hour into my run, gel, and then water and hydrate post
Yeah.
run.
So many people
But
just
you don't need to gel up if you're running 4 miles.
Right. Like I remember the first time when I was in high school that I was going to like start working out. Didn't last that long. P90X, anybody?
Heck yeah.
And I want to get back into that thing. That thing was fun. Also torture. But I remember like one of my mom's friends at our church like worked for, or she like owned a vitamin shop, or she was high up in management or something. And like, I was like, oh yeah, you're going to need this and this and this and this. And it was like loading me up with all this just, protein, creatine, this and that. And like there, there's arguments both sides on like what you need depending on what you're aiming for. But like, here's the thing. The bottom line is if you're just trying to like be in shape and you can get really strong just by making sure you drink enough water and electrolytes and then like eat a good diet.
Protein, there's plenty like protein. I would say most walk in, get protein powder off the shelf. Most people probably have less protein than they need in their diet when it comes to like working out. So I don't think protein, and with protein, I feel like worst case scenario is it kind of makes you fat.
I'll say,
So,
but
like,
the problem people run into with protein most of the time is that they don't realize how much they need to be working out to work off that massive protein shake they just drank.
Yeah, no, but I mean,
to like use it.
Protein shakes really aren't crazy though. Like a lot of them have like 40 grams of protein.
Some of them,
but a lot of
some
them
of them
have a lot
are
of dairy
nuts.
in it too, and
Yeah.
that's not.
Yeah,
That's not
like I
necessarily
always use
helpful for-
vegan
I
because
say that's a bigger problem with
I'm a-
protein
I'm a
is that you
plant
can.
protein
It's
boy.
like anything else where you can walk in to the store and it's like, oh well, here's this boring one that's probably the best one for you.
Yeah.
And then here's this one that is cookies and cream.
Here's what I'll
like
say. I've been
freaking
taking the
crazy.
BPN,
the peanut butter one.
peanut butter cookie.
Yeah.
That is the best protein. I've tried a lot of protein powders because like I took protein when I was in high school when I
It's
worked
gone a long way.
basketball a lot.
It's gone a
and, like,
long way.
I would use the just the red and black. If you walk into any store, there's this red and black container just
like,
says "Whey"
yeah.
on the front.
Yeah.
And I had a chocolate peanut butter one. It was okay.
Yeah.
Well, then when I got Alpha Gal, I switched because like Whey's one of the iffy Alpha Gal things.
Okay.
And I just was like, why mess with it when I can just go with a vegan protein? Because
Yeah.
you don't really run into a lot of whey in your normal diet.
Yeah.
So I just went vegan protein. I got a vanilla vegan protein. Most disgusting thing I've ever put in my mouth. Then in college, when I was working out for disc golf, I tried again and I got a different vegan protein. It basically tastes like I was chewing grass. It was supposed to be like
Delicious.
cookies and cream or something. It tasted terrible.
The one I use tastes pretty bad.
Threw that out. Then so this time around, I got the like, first the like carbohydrate and electrolyte supplement for running. And then I got this peanut butter cookie vegan protein. And I was like, this vegan protein is going to suck, but like, it's good for me to take it post run to help my legs recover and build muscle on post like longer runs. And so got it, took a sip, and I'm like, this is dessert. This is literally dessert. And
It's
what I've been
always
doing
hit or miss with the protein.
is when I want ice cream, I'll like go for a run and like pre-breakfast or like pre-dinner, and then come back and mix it in with Greek yogurt and put a few little chocolate chips in there. It literally tastes like peanut butter ice cream.
That's great.
Oh, it's so good.
I like try that.
Now, but what I was saying with the back to the workout stuff is like pre-workout, and I don't know anything about creatine, so I'm not even going to try to talk about creatine.
From what I've heard from
But-
creatine is that
I've heard there's basically not studies to prove it either way.
Yeah,
it's just
it's very much like it's probably not necessary.
Yeah, but pre-workout, I think pre-workout is meant for a certain class of athlete.
That's mostly just an energy thing.
But the problem with it, the thing I don't like about most like pre-workout energy drinks is like I don't like stuff that messes with your heart rate.
Yeah.
And like so BPN, the founder Nick Bear, he like has a YouTube channel that I love, but they have a pre-workout, and so he'll like take his normal supplements in the morning for his run because he runs like 8 miles every morning. Then he works out at work at like 12, and before his workout he'll take pre-workout. And then he was like talking on there, he's like, never take pre-workout before a run, especially if you're trying to do like heart rate zone training, because like it'll just jack your heart rate way up, and it's like really good if you're trying to get a pump. But with the run, I'm like, why is anyone just like pre-workout? Why do I want to jack my heart rate?
Yeah, well, the idea,
I don't like stuff that messes with your heart rate.
The idea is you're trying to prime yourself to like have a better workout, like give you more energy.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, if I go into the gym at 5:30 in the morning and I'm feeling like an absolute zombie, I'm going to lift lighter and worse than I would if I had energy in my body. So I think that's the idea, is like you're priming yourself to like, because like the best days you ever have in the gym are when you feel energized and you're just like, I could pick up a skyscraper right now. And it's just because you don't feel tired. And that's like the big difference. But yeah, pre-workout is like one of the few things. Like caffeine doesn't really have a huge effect on me, but if you drink pre-workout, like you will start feeling like you can see sounds.
I can handle like 2 cups of coffee a day, and it doesn't affect, like my heart rate stays low. I don't feel jittery, nothing like that. But that's like a cup of coffee, I think has like 95 milligrams of caffeine, somewhere in there. And so basically like 200 milligrams of caffeine a day is like it. I don't mess with much past that, because like when I used to have like energy drinks here and there, and like I vividly remember just like sitting at
got you pumped up
my desk, or like sitting on a car ride home, and I took an energy drink to make sure I'd be awake, and my heart is like do 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 do. I'm like, this is not right. Like I'm gonna die here.
I actually have one big regret in my life.
Okay.
And whenever I was only one. Whenever I was in high school and like all throughout college and everything, I always saw these people like smashing monsters, and like I would get in their car, like so many friends, I would get in their cars and their floorboard is just full of monsters.
Yeah.
It's like, and I had so many friends. I was like, buddy, like that's not good for you. Like I know that like it tastes good.
It's so yummy.
You work night shift, like all this stuff, but like. You're gonna die. For real. Like if you drink a monster I know there are people listening that drink a monster every day, probably multiple monsters every day. Guys, that is not good for you. But no. I always was like, that's not good for you. But then I like the flavor of energy drinks a lot. But I hate that. So I got really into the past like 2 years. I got really into the like healthy energy drinks. The ones that like are 0 sugar and have like a lot, or made out of like green tea caffeine and all this stuff. And like a lot of the energy drinks I was drinking don't have things in it that are bad for you. But I realize now that I viewed that as like, this isn't bad for me. And so I was pounding them. Like I would drink so many, like every time we would stop at any gas station, I was getting some kind of energy drink. I would drink one every day. I was buying packs of them from Sam's and drinking them every morning. And I hate it because like now I realize, because caffeine doesn't really affect me. That's why I can drink so many of them and it doesn't bother me. I was more just for flavor and like maybe a little bit of boost in the morning. I was like, it's like drinking a cup of coffee. But like so many of them have like 300 milligrams of caffeine in it. And even if there's not bad for you stuff in it, caffeine is not good for you.
No.
And like I genuinely regret, because for like 2 years I was pounding caffeine because it didn't affect me, and I was drinking drinks. I was like, these aren't bad for me because there's nothing bad in it. Well, there's still a ton of caffeine in it, and like I genuinely am nervous that it is gonna like I haven't drank.
You gotta live by the caffeine.
I have not drank
caffeine, man.
I have not drank a energy drink for like 3 months now. 2 months now. I had a Celsius last week whenever we were in North Carolina, but that's because I was having a 4.5 hour drive back and I was exhausted.
You weren't gonna make it.
And also it was one energy drink.
Those are also only 200 milligrams.
Yeah. But like I haven't drank any of them, but I'm so nervous that I like actually messed up my body because I didn't think about it. I was like just pounding them like they were.
Be all right.
I was pounding them like it was water.
You just got to remember that there are people out there, like you said, that are drinking I mean, you should see. There was this.
Some stuff just doesn't affect people.
There was this celebrity.
There are people who also smoke a whole pack of cigarettes a day.
It's also true.
And live until they're 90. And I don't want to take that risk.
There's this celebrity, Pedro Pascal. Do you know who that is? He was in like one of the Star Wars movies. He's like in the Last of Us show that's on right now.
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
He's
the one that's got. He kind of looks like a. I know who you're talking about.
The picture of him like holding his Starbucks drink got like leaked on it, not like leaked on the internet, but like found on the internet, and it had like his receipt thing on the sticker on it, and you could see his order. I'm gonna see if I can find it. It was like the most insane amount of caffeine I've ever seen in my life. Let me see if I can find it. I'm sure I can.
I have a friend that I had a friend in high school that I went to Starbucks with one time, and he said, "I want you to fill a venti cup up with espresso shots."
This article says Pedro Pascal.
He drank the whole thing.
Pedro Pascal's Starbucks order is stressing us out. We're a little concerned. That's the name of this article.
You gotta love blogs that just write a whole article
this
on
is
what
what
could
he
be a
gets.
tweet.
Yeah,
this is what he gets: an iced quad espresso and a venti cup with extra ice and 6 shots. That's 384 milligrams of caffeine.
Wait, a quad espresso with six shots? That doesn't even make sense. Is that 10 shots? How do you do that math?
It says, assuming the actor's order includes 6 shots of espresso total, not in addition to. So they're just assuming that it's the lowest end it could be. That's 384 milligrams of caffeine. And like 400 is like what the FDA says, don't go over 400 a day. Like that is, you should not go over 400.
But that, I mean.
And if the FDA is saying 400, then you probably should go over half of that. It could be
plus
10.
Six. It could be
10. It could be.
Maybe a quad espresso is something you can order. And so
but
you would a quad espresso, add 2 shots.
Maybe.
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 Or it's 10 espresso shots.
The label was on there.
That's not good for you. Dave Grohl, like, literally used to drink, this was an actual statistic, that like 12 pots of coffee a day.
That's impressive.
12 pots?
Yeah, and then he went to the hospital.
That's what I'm saying. Like
he went to the hospital and he doesn't do that
There
anymore.
are levels to this game, man.
A pot of coffee, I didn't realize, because like my sister used to say.
What's called a giraffe?
A giraffe. Carafe with a C.
See if I can find this.
But it's spelled CH, isn't it?
No.
The image of it.
My sister used to say, she'd be like, yeah, I drink like 12 cups of coffee a day. I'm like, Heather, there's no way. Because like, when I'm thinking a cup of coffee, I'm thinking like a 10-ounce cup.
She's thinking
so
like
if you look at
she's thinking like on the side of the carafe, it goes up to 12. So she was drinking like a pot of coffee a day, which is like 3 cups of coffee.
Yeah.
Because realistically, if you make a pot and you pour it into a 12-ounce cup, it's about 4 cups.
Yeah.
So she was drinking like 3 cups a day, but she was swearing up one tree and down another. She was drinking 12 cups a day. I'm like, no, you're not drinking 12 cups of coffee a day.
This is on the exact receipt, like from the picture. It just says ice quad espresso. Next line, venti cup. Next line, extra ice. Next line, 6 shots.
Who knows?
So like, I'm hoping that just means total of 6.
No, that's 10 shots.
Well, you need to just go to Starbucks and ask them. Like, if I were to order a quad espresso and then ask for 6 shots, are you putting 6 shots in total, or are you giving me 10 shots of espresso, or 5 double shots?
No, because they're writing on the cup what they need to charge you for.
Yeah, no, I would imagine it's 10 shots.
So they wrote down a quad espresso because that's probably something
like
that's in the computer.
Caffeine.
And then
6 shots. Like, they would have to charge you for the 6 additional.
I think you would die. I don't think you can drink that.
That's 1,000 milligrams.
And
of
like,
caffeine.
that's his order, man. Like, that's his order.
Well, maybe that's why he had the picture of him. Like, because like, look at this crazy drink. Like, it might not.
Well, no, he didn't post it. Like, somebody took a picture of it.
Like, he was just walking out of Starbucks.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was just like a walking out of Starbucks, somebody snapped it situation. Not like, hey guys, this is my Starbucks order. Because then, yeah, you could interpret that as satire. Because like, I could go into what point can will Starbucks refuse you? Is that a video?
They won't.
Like, well, I mean,
well, no, like how many shots of espresso can fit in a venti cup?
You could just say, fill my venti cup up with espresso. Konner just said a friend in high school did that.
Oh.
Yeah, I had a friend in high school
research.
that said that literally I went to Starbucks with him and he said, just fill a venti cup up with espresso. It's like $20. And he drank it. And I was like, you are disgusting.
How many ounces is a
I mean, he was definitely
shot of espresso?
he was definitely doing
like
it
2?
to get a reaction out of me. And it
How
worked.
many ounces is a shot of espresso?
A single shot?
Yeah.
I believe an ounce.
It's an ounce. And how many? Venti is 32, so that'd be 32 shots of
typically-
espresso. That can't be right.
Well, a Starbucks shot's probably 2 ounces.
16 shots then of espresso and a 30. I think the Venti's 32 ounces.
And also, all the
1.5
caffeine
is
is probably burnt out of their espresso anyway.
Yeah, it's
1.5
over roasted.
A double
Gosh,
shot. So a
dude.
double shot's about 2 ounces.
My thing is
A
like
single shot's about. It says claims 1.5, but a double shot's about 2. So you could say 16 shots of espresso.
I don't.
Well, if a double shot's 2, then a single
I'm
shot
trying to
is
think of
1.
like the most caffeine I've ever had in a day.
No, a single shot. Like I just searched a shot of espresso ounces. It says 1.5 fluid ounces. A double shot means it's how much coffee that's going in.
So a double shot doesn't mean 2 shots?
It's the amount of coffee for 2 shots. So it's the amount of caffeine of 2 shots. You can pull a double or a single shot.
I understand.
You pull it from the machine.
Okay. So
It's
a
the coffee
double
that goes in.
Gotcha.
You have the caffeine of 2 shots.
That makes sense. You're making sense to me.
Yeah.
He's making sense.
But typically a single where I worked, we every origin of coffee was pulled at a different ratio slightly to affect the taste. So it wasn't like most of our
How
shots
much
were
caffeine gets you caffeine
20
poisoning?
to 40, 1-to-2 ratio, I believe. I think that was most of our shots. But it varied based on what notes you wanted out of your shot of espresso. Wild stuff, man.
How much caffeine is caffeine poison? That's the real question. How much caffeine is poisonous? In dogs, it's only 140 milligrams.
Yeah, well, dogs have a crazy high heart rate, don't they?
I didn't say. Oh, it has to add it on dogs. I just wanted humans. This is not. How can you die from a caffeine overdose?
Yeah, how much caffeine will cause an overdose?
Like what? It's rare. It's really hard to get that much caffeine.
A lethal amount of caffeine is about 180 milligrams per liter, which is determined by examining the blood.
Pretty much impossible to
So
drink.
when you
You'd have to be injected.
when you consume 100 milligrams of caffeine, it raises your blood caffeine levels by about 5, meaning it would take 40 cups of coffee to be lethal.
I mean, okay. That's 40
But
cups.
let's just also realize that the word there is lethal. That's just enough for you to die, not for there to be damage.
Yeah.
The line between damage and die is very big. There's a big line there.
So the FDA estimates toxic effects such as seizures can be observed with a rapid consumption of around 1,200 milligrams of caffeine, or 0.1 tablespoons of pure caffeine. So if you were just like get a little dot on a tablespoon of just pure caffeine, then it could cause seizures.
You can do that.
I mean,
That makes sense. You just like a
Caffeine's a drug.
caffeine extract.
That's crazy.
That is whack. That is certified whack.
I guess you never really think like a milligram is so small.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is small. How small is it?
Well,
it's
milli means 1,000.
Yeah,
so it's 1,000 of them in a gram.
And a gram is very small.
That's very small.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you think of 100 milligrams, it's only 0.1 gram.
Should we start doing all of our disc weights in milligrams?
You just would
So you
add,
could
what,
probably have a
0.0?
shot.
180,000 milligrams max weight. How
small
Wait,
can you make caffeine at its smallest form?
can we reduce?
What do you mean by that?
I want to know how difficult it would be, how much would you have to consume of caffeine to die? So to have
0.15 tablespoon.
Oh, that's it?
Yeah, that's what the FDA just said. Well, that's enough to cause toxic effects such as seizures and stuff. 0.15 tablespoons.
So barely
So
a
like
tablespoon.
a dot on a tablespoon, basically,
and
that causes toxic effects.
I didn't realize that's what you just said.
Yeah.
Holy crap!
Yeah.
Oh, that's terrifying.
Well, there's just a
But,
lot.
I mean, that's
there's a
how,
lot less caffeine than you think in stuff.
Yeah, but that's also like how I'm sure there's an ingredient in everything that you eat that if you got the concentrate,
Yeah.
you could have enough of in a tiny bit to die.
Well, there's crazy things that can be really dangerous, like potassium. Like if you
7 bananas.
That's the crazy one.
it.
Is like
I still need to drink a gallon of milk. I'm still convinced I can drink a gallon of milk. Everybody
That
says
won't-
you
wanna
can't
do
do
it
it
today?
I think I can.
That won't kill you.
No, not today.
What if we offer up a prize?
No.
Then yeah,
I'll offer up a prize then.
Okay.
What the heck?
What's my prize?
If you could drink an entire gallon of milk, what's the actual challenge? Like within an hour?
Well, we had to see what.
Find the challenge.
I'm really convinced I could do it.
It's not within an hour. It's faster than that because people
15
chug
minutes.
it.
I think it might be 15 minutes. That just doesn't seem that crazy to me. Like I would just drink, like I could definitely drink that much water, and I feel like milk wouldn't be that. Does it have to be a certain kind of milk? Can it be like?
To complete this challenge, one must keep the entire gallon down for 60 minutes.
Oh. So that means that I'm just sitting there sweating for an hour trying not to throw up. What kind of milk do you have to use? Like, does it have to be whole milk? Because that would be a little tough.
Though it sounds harmless, no one should attempt this. All caps.
Those are my favorite things to attempt.
Because the human body is not designed to digest the sheer amount of liquid quality in such a short time frame.
So that's why you throw up, is because your body cannot digest it.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I'll just pop some AG1 and then I'll have no problem.
So you have to keep it down for 60 minutes? But is there a time limit on drinking
I
it?
don't know. I'm trying to find.
Okay, so your body cannot process that much.
But
Is it liquid
you
or
said
just?
You can, man.
Is it liquid or just milk?
What the heck are you talking about? Oh.
Drink a gallon of milk in 60 minutes and keep it down for an hour. That was apparently the challenge. I mean, I feel like an hour. I'm starting to be on Konner's side. If you have a full
That's what
hour
I'm saying, dude.
to drink a gallon of milk,
He's gaslighting. You
I'm
better
not
be
gonna do
careful.
it. I'm
He's
not gonna try
gaslighting.
it, but
Not,
a full,
dude.
you have
He's
an
not.
hour. Think how long an hour is.
I'm only
60
laughing
minutes.
because I've seen so many people like talk like
no,
that
but people
on
like
YouTube.
try to chug it like that. That's the wrong thing. You got to time out your 12-ounce glasses.
Yeah.
Yeah, go for it. I'm telling you right now. This used to be a very big challenge.
How many
on
ounces
YouTube.
are in a gallon?
But if I'm doing it for a YouTube video, I'm doing exactly what these people are doing. I'm just taking
I've
a
seen,
gallon. Like,
I've seen people try to strategize.
I still feel like I
it.
could chug a gallon.
Because the problem, the
I still
reason
feel like
they
I could do
chug
that.
it is because if you're doing it slowly, you're gonna get so sick of it over time. Like that's what makes it even harder.
I still feel
to.
like I could just chug the whole gallon.
Okay,
of milk.
well, what's your price?
I don't know what my price is, dude.
Earlier this month at Uncle Bob's Shelf Storage in Upper Saddle River, New Jersey,
I want to go there.
freakishly fast competitive eater Takara Kobayashi not only successfully completed the gallon challenge, but he obliterated it. Kobayashi downed the entire gallon of whole milk in 20 seconds. And that wasn't even the main event. He was merely washing down the 13 cupcakes he had just swallowed in 1 minute. A feat which is claimed to be a world record.
Well, I was told,
He
listen,
like
threw
Konner.
down 13 cupcakes and then chugged a gallon of milk in 20 seconds to wash it down.
Like Konner.
listen, all I'm saying is that one time, whenever I was in high school, I was hanging out with all my friends, all right? This was the same group of people that we went out and bought a trampoline at 1 o'clock in the morning with, okay? So you're getting the vibes, right?
Yep.
So this was another night. It was very late, and we were watching competitive eating, of course. And we saw somewhere that it said, or someone read somewhere something that it was close to impossible to like eat, chew, and fully swallow a slice of bread in less than 15 seconds.
Yeah. Are you ever done the saltine one before?
No, never done the saltine one. But I said, that's bull crap. I can definitely do that. And I was like, everyone was like, no, you can't. And I was like, I definitely can. We went to Walmart because my parents didn't have bread because they were healthy people. And so we went to Walmart, bought a loaf of bread, 11.5 seconds.
You're goated. The saltine one is
a slice of bread doesn't sound.
But
that
you
great.
guys do not understand. I have an extreme amount of motivation to prove my point. I would have died. I basically choked myself because there was not enough moisture in there. I just started swallowing once I saw it get to 10 seconds. I almost died, but I did it.
The way those work, because the saltine one is the one I read that was the most, like, that sounds so easy to do.
But it absorbs your saliva so quick.
It's like 3
that one would be
saltines
tough.
in like a minute or something. Like it seems like so easy.
But that's what I'm saying.
And
Dude.
then
if you're willing to put your
maybe
life
5
on the line,
but it sounded like the easiest thing ever. And I'm telling you, it kicked my butt. Like it was, and I think you had to do them one at a time. Maybe like that's
if you're willing to put your life on the line, just start swallowing. Even though it's not, you're gonna die.
Oh, it's more.
You can do it. You can do anything.
60 seconds to eat 6.
Yeah.
Without drinking
Yeah,
anything.
like,
okay. Well,
that's
you have
tough.
10 seconds per one. Yeah.
But like that
makes sense.
It feels
I could
reachable.
definitely do that without a doubt. I'd put $1 million on it.
I don't want to.
I would put it with $1 million. You don't think you could just swallow something kind of dry? Yeah, I
It's
could
not
do it.
kind of dry.
I could do 100% positive.
You're
I could do that.
100% positive you can do the
No,
saltine.
I don't want to see him.
100%
He's gonna choke
positive.
himself out. We can't
I might.
encourage this.
We'll just
I
wait
might-
till after work.
No, we can't. He's gonna die.
No, he's not.
I'm 100% confident.
We got a life vac. No, we don't.
I'm not being there for
You don't
this.
have to be there. I'll be there for you, Konner.
Do you know the Heimlich?
Yeah.
Okay. You do realize if you're not
60
certified.
seconds?
Did you know, this is crazy to me, but it also kind of makes sense. Because I was CPR and first aid
You
certified
can
and
go
everything.
to jail for trying to do CPR.
And then now I'm not anymore. I'd have to take a class to re-up it. It's like good for like a year or something. But like I still know how to do CPR. The knowledge hasn't left my brain. But I'm not certified anymore because I haven't taken that like 20, 30-minute class anymore. So like if you fell over and I did all the right process, I made sure I checked see if you're breathing, I checked the surroundings, blah, blah, blah. I get Trevor to call 911. I'm like, all right, it's time to start CPR. And I do CPR on you and you still end up dying. I can't save you. Your family would have the right to sue me.
yeah.
Hunter,
isn't that
if you,
crazy?
Let me tell
I
you
think-
right now, if I start choking, you
I don't know about the
anything.
Heimlich. I don't know about the
if
Heimlich.
I start doing anything, you have full permission from me.
No.
I will write it down.
It's
for
a
you to do
weird
CPR.
moral line.
I think the
like,
exception to that-
I know how to do CPR to save someone's life.
But the exception
Right.
to that, I think a lot of times the 911 instructor will talk you through it, and that's like the first thing they're trained to do is start talking
Yeah.
you through. And I think at that point you have permission.
But like,
to.
let's say it's a weird moral line. Like, let's say that I'm out in a park, no cell phone reception. Okay.
I mean, if that family decides to press
walking,
charges, like that's
a
messed
stranger
up.
falls out, in front of me. Whatever happens to them, they're not breathing. Their heart's done, and I have the opportunity and the knowledge to save their life potentially. And if I don't act now, they're dead. Right? Like if I don't take the action, because like I can't call 911. There's nothing. Like the only hope for this person to be saved is if I could do CPR.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But then by doing CPR, I could be partially responsible for their death.
Yeah.
Like
I think you do it. I think you do it.
I would do it 100% of the time.
yeah.
No doubt. Because like there's a chance of saving this person's life. And
Yeah.
if I don't save their life, then I might end up in jail. But like, what are you supposed to do? Just sit there and like you have the knowledge to save someone and you're supposed to sit there and not.
It's also
there are
like-
times where the law does not completely cover what is morally correct, and I think that
Well,
Yeah,
also-
so I'm like,
situation-
I have the knowledge. I still fully know everything to do with CPR to potentially save someone's life. Like, it would have to be a scenario where like we're in public and me acting isn't the best thing. Like we're in public, the person collapses, and I can get to a defibrillator or call 911 and like faster than me trying to do CPR. Then yeah, I'm calling 911 first, and I'm letting them like talk me through it to where like whatever, sure. But like if you're in a scenario and you
Now, if
have
it's
the
you where
knowledge-
you actually know how to do it, yeah. For me, I mean, I don't know how to do CPR.
chest compressions is
Staying
it's-
alive.
Yeah, well, it's not super difficult. to
No.
do
But
chest
isn't there a pretty
compressions.
fine line between you're like not doing enough and you're doing too much, like pressure wise?
If you
Yeah.
know,
I know
yeah.
most of the times that people are saved
When-
through CPR, they have a broken rib because
when
that's like
on an adult, it's hard to do it too hard.
okay.
Yeah, it's more on a child. I
On
think
a
it's
child, it's a very fine line.
I know how to what to do with the child whenever they choke. You flip them over on their belly, put your fingers right on their sides of the mouth, and you put your palm right there back.
You slap that back, bro.
I took it. I actually was CPR certified in high school because I took a class in my science class.
Bro, yeah. After watching a toddler like learn how to eat, especially before he has teeth, pretty much just ready for choking at any point.
Yeah.
That's why we bought one of those life vacs. We actually have two of them, one in the car and one in our house that you
just
put
put
it
it on
up
and-
to their mouth and the suction
Yeah, okay.
pulls the food out of their throat.
That's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I
like
hope
you
I
to try
never
that
have
on
to
me.
use it, but I am glad I have it because
Would you mind bringing that whenever I do the saltine thing?
yeah, that's what I was saying. Because, like, I mean, you got a toddler who just, like, doesn't understand what chewing is and is, like, just like, I'm going to swallow this whole entire thing.
I mean, could you imagine?
And there's like,
And I say, could you imagine? And the sad thing is, this has happened to people thousands of millions of times probably in history. But if I was like, yeah, I can definitely do that, and then I died.
Yeah.
yeah. Bro, did I
That's
tell
like
you?
the sentence.
Did I
choked on a
tell you
saltine
the? Did
and
I
I died.
tell you the banana story? I've told you all
No.
the banana story
No.
about the kid I met in college.
Oh, yeah,
who had
where
to
he,
break
like-
it up in his throat.
He was
yeah,
saying
yeah.
how, yeah.
Yeah,
And
he was
bruised
like,
his throat, breaking it up.
he said, "Look how far I can stick this down my throat," and it broke off in his throat. It was a banana, and he was choking, and people didn't realize he was choking, and he literally had to crush the banana in his throat from the outside with his hands, like bruised his throat just to like survive. Like what?
Just the fact
heck,
that he would
dude?
even have the whereabouts to be like, I gotta crush the banana.
My roommate, like when you see it, like you see an adult choking, it's such a foreign thing because like we know how to chew. It's so much more rare. And like one of my roommates, my last year of college, we're like sitting over on the couch, like watching a movie or something, and him and like one of my other roommates are sitting over like at our counter, and he's eating a bowl of cereal, like a bowl of whatever. Life. I think it was Life cereal.
Ironic.
Yeah, very ironic. And all of a sudden, just hear, it's funny because he's okay, obviously, but we just hear one of my roommates go, nobody listens to this. He goes, Maverick, like, and we look over and he's kind of just like frozen there, like, oh, like, and his face is kind of like, I don't know if he was turning a color or anything. And then all of a sudden just like coughs up and just milk and cereal go flying everywhere. And he was like, it was this little scary moment there for a second. We were like, oh my gosh. Like, and like my roommate was panicked that was next to him. He's like, he was choking. And how do you choke on cereal? I don't even know. Because there's milk and I don't know what he did.
Did he just like congeal into a
but
ball?
I don't know.
Wood glue instead of milk.
So just sprays milk and cereal everywhere and like is really flustered and like embarrassed. But we're all just like, oh my gosh, like that was freaky. Like none of us are like making fun of the guy.
Yeah, of course.
Dude was just choking on cereal, but like kind of just like cleans it up and just walks off the bed. But oh man,
That's hilarious.
Oh, it was something else. Like we just went from like watching a movie to like, oh no, he's gonna die, like everywhere.
If I ever die from choking on something, it's gonna be a mozzarella stick.
What is like I was saying as
Why?
an adult, like what's
Because
the most
whenever
like,
I like bite it
what was
off-
I choking on just the other
And I'll
day?
chew it up and I'll go to swallow, and a piece of the cheese is still connected to the fried that I'm swallowing, and so the big glob of cheese goes down my throat. And every time I'm like,
It wasn't even,
and then take another bite.
it wasn't even that long ago.
I know exactly what you're talking
It was like
about.
a few weeks ago. I found myself like borderline choking on something, and I don't even remember the last time this happened to me. It was like I think it was like either a kernel of corn or a pea or something, to where it was like probably not even enough to block my airway,
Definitely
but
not.
it was like in my airway, and I was kind of just like sitting there at dinner table like. And then just kind of went, it was good. But I was like, for a second there, I was like, yeah, I was choking a little bit there.
That's funny. So
Always a
somebody,
scary moment where you're sitting
somebody,
there like, okay, I'm fine.
somebody was talking about something the other day. I think I might have been talking. I don't know who I was talking to about it, but I remembered a story of whenever I was a kid, and I had never eaten like a fresh cherry before,
No.
and I didn't know they had pits.
Yeah.
And so I was over at my friend's house, and they had a bunch of like fresh cherries from like their grandpa's garden or something like that. And so I was just popping them, and eating with my friend. And my friend was like, "Where are you spitting your pits?" And I was like, "Huh?" And he was like,
You didn't notice them?
"I didn't." I don't know why.
I've never had a fresh cherry.
I have no idea why. They have pretty
yeah, but, like,
decent.
they're
They're not
pretty-
like little seeds.
and
Like they're
they're
pits.
hard.
In them.
Like,
I don't know how I
if
didn't
you bit
notice.
on one, you would
but
notice
I just
very
was
quick.
like popping them, chewing, swallowing, and did not notice. I'd probably eaten like somewhere between 6 and 10. And
You got a lot of cherry trees.
I
in your
told him that.
stomach,
He
man.
was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then his mom walked in. It's like, "What are you guys talking about?" And he was like, "Konner's just been swallowing all the pits." And she was like, "Their cherry pits are really poisonous," and like freaked out and like
What?
called their doctor. And the doctor was like, "If he's not like foaming at the mouth, then he's fine."
Are they actually poisonous?
Yeah, look it up. Cherry pits are poisonous. I don't know how.
That's so fascinating.
I know for a
What
fact
the
I had at
frick?
least.
What are we
6.
doing eating a fruit with such a... Is it that serious? What the heck are we doing? Why are people even putting those in their mouth if there's a risk of them swallowing something poisonous?
Hard stone at the center of cherries is full of prussic acid, also known as cyanide.
What? You're telling me people are just like popping cherries and eating them and just spitting out the pit?
It says there's no need to freak out if you accidentally swallow one. Intact pits just pass through your system and out the other end.
Oh, okay.
Just avoid crunching or crushing
Okay.
them as you nosh on your cherries.
Yeah.
Okay.
that's-
All right.
This is going to be a fascinating article. It's common foods that can be toxic. Number one,
Are
cherry
you
pits.
kidding me right now?
Apple seed.
Cyanide?
Apples. I knew about apple seeds.
Apple seeds also have cyanide.
What?
Wait,
I didn't realize cyanide was such a natural
Is that like
thing.
a predator protection situation? Like if you're like trying to plant something like that?
what about those like juicing machines where like they encourage you just like throw the whole apple in there?
Maybe they don't crush the seeds. I mean,
How is that
They
where it
probably
turns into a
filter.
juice?
They probably filter the.
They filter the
seeds out.
cyanide?
Well,
I was doing that every morning.
Well, maybe
I would
that's-
throw 4 apples and
maybe
like
that's
20
what,
blueberries.
Maybe that's what pasteurization does, and maybe that's why they warn you. Like if you get unpasteurized apple cider, like it says it very
I
specifically.
don't know,
on
man.
the
I would
label.
have like we had a juicer when I was growing up, and I'd put like 3 or 4 apples in it.
I
and,
mean,
like,
hey, at the farmer's market,
and then I would throw some blueberries.
at the farmer's
and it spits
market,
it out.
they're just
Yeah.
chucking them in there like that.
and I would
man.
chug it, and it was great.
I don't know. Maybe there's such
elderberries.
Such low amounts.
What's
in
wrong
there.
with elderberries?
Elderberries are
jam.
very good for you.
Eating unripe berries, bark, or leaves of elderberries may make you feel worse. They both have lectin and cyanide, 2 chemicals that can cause nausea, vomiting, and diarrhea.
So we
What's
have
up with
cyanide in all of our
Interesting.
fruit.
Nutmeg.
I've been taking elderberry, some kind of elderberry syrup,
As
or something
little
like
as
that the past
2
few days because I can
teaspoons.
feel like a cold coming on, and so I've been trying to like suppress it.
Well, you're putting cyanide in your
Yeah,
body.
you're cyaniding yourself.
Not
dude.
really. It's only if they're not ripe.
One of 2 options: either feel better or
Those are the berries
As
they ate in
little
the
as
Hunger
2
Games, dude.
teaspoons of nutmeg can be toxic because of an oil that causes hallucinations, drowsiness, dizziness, confusion, and seizures. Nutmeg.
nutmeg. Gets
We
you
are
high?
just playing with fire every day. Like,
It is
imagine,
I
Not
think
to
it's
mention
better
the
not
times
to
when
know.
we're playing with fire.
I know you usually just grate a little nutmeg in things, but like, you're kidding me right now. If you accidentally put too much in there, you might start hallucinating.
Green potatoes, leaf sprouts, and underground stems of potatoes contain a toxic substance called glycol.
Called cyanide.
They make potatoes look green when
Tuberculosis.
exposed to light, get damaged, or ages. Eating potatoes with a high whatever can cause nausea, diarrhea, confusion, headaches, and death.
Confusion.
Raw kidney beans. I knew that. A lot of raw beans are like that. Raw kidney beans have a high concentrate of lectins. Lectins
Not
are
those
toxic.
lectins.
Rhubarb.
Rhubarb.
Eating the stalls okay, but leave out the leaf. Rhubarb leaves contain oxalic acid, which binds to calcium and makes it harder for your body to absorb it.
How'd these people find this stuff out? Like the people that like
Mess around and find out.
originally, like the people that originally discovered these fruits and stuff.
If you eat that,
They messed-
oh man,
messed
this
around
rhubarb
and
is
they found
delicious.
out.
In turn-
what happened to Bill over there? He ate the leaf of the rhubarb. Probably shouldn't do that.
your bones can't grow the way they should, and you're at risk for kidney stones, blood clotting, vomiting, diarrhea, and comas.
Well, that one's not that bad.
Bitter almonds. Both types of almonds, bitter and sweet, have amygdalin, a chemical compound that can turn to cyanide. But bitter almonds have the highest level by far. Sweet almonds are safe to snack on, but eating untreated bitter almonds can cause cramps, nausea, and diarrhea.
What I've
heard
learned
about
is that
starfruit.
literally everything in this life is just pure cyanide.
Why is there so much cyanide
Star
everywhere?
fruit. Normal kidneys can filter out the toxins, but for a system that can't, the toxins stick around.
So if you got weak toxins, don't
Mushrooms.
do it.
I mean, that's obvious. People knew mushrooms.
Mushrooms are also very good.
Raw
for you.
cashews. I'd heard this one before too.
Yeah.
What do you mean by raw cashews?
Cashews you get in stores with a raw label aren't exactly that. Before they hit the shelf, they're steamed to remove a toxin called urushiol in the shells, which is the
How
same
do
toxin
you
you find
find
in
out
poison
you
ivy.
need to steam them so they don't kill you? How do you find that out?
Mangoes. Just
Like,
like,
I died from eating cashews. Okay, my family member died from eating cashews. Maybe if we steam them, we can still eat them. Just don't eat them. They died.
mangoes. Just like raw cashews, the skin, bark, and leaves of mangoes
I've definitely
contain
eaten the skin of mangoes before.
urushiol, the toxin in poison ivy. If
I
you're
thought you were
allergic to
allowed to
poison,
Poison ivy,
if you're
bro.
allergic to poison ivy, especially if that allergy is a bad one, biting into a mango can cause severe reaction with swelling, rash, and even problems breathing.
I'm gonna
This
stop eating
world is a
everything.
death
This
trap.
is why I just eat McDonald's.
We
man.
live in
It's
a
safe.
bear trap. We live in a bear trap.
McDonald's is safe, man.
Just don't grab a mango off a tree and eat it, man.
I'm terrified of the world now.
Yeah,
I'm terrified.
I don't want to eat anything.
Just make sure
anymore.
everything you eat is heavily processed,
know what isn't?
canned food.
Hey, you know what isn't poison?
What?
Double G crap jerky. It's not poison.
It's processed.
I've had every
Amen.
flavor. It's not poison. It's delicious. It's crafted.
You better be careful of those tree nuts on your desk, Konner.
Yeah, that's true. Better be careful.
Yeah, I got a bunch. I've been eating so many cashews lately.
You
They're
get
not raw
If you get a
cashews.
bitter almond, spit that thing
Raw
across the
cashews,
room.
Oh, I
you
will.
have
I
to buy, like,
will.
very
I'll
specific.
We're
spit it,
gonna be
dude.
sitting there and Konner's be like, boom. And just have
Wait,
almonds
what?
gonna go flying
That
against
almond- that almond
What?
felt
He's
kinda
like,
weird.
Dude, that one was kind of bitter. That one was a little bitter, man. I can taste the cyanide. Oh, I'm starting to hallucinate.
I'm just
can't
gonna take.
believe
I'm
you
just gonna take
swallowed
cherry pits. I'm just
10
gonna take cherry pits. I'm gonna keep in my seed, in my cheek. That way, like if I'm ever like captured by the Soviet
That's
Union,
all I was thinking about. It was like the
just be- I'd be,
cyanide.
sorry, so Soviet, like back in the day, Soviet Union. Maybe not. I'm gonna stop saying what I'm saying. if I'm captured by people I don't want to be captured by, I just pop one of the things out.
That's like in
Cyanide.
Captain America, dude.
Where they have
he
their
gets
teeth,
caught
the
and
fake
his-
tooth.
Yeah, it's filled
And they
with
pop that
cyanide,
tooth out and they
bro.
bite it. It's just a cherry pit.
That's all that was in there.
Oh gosh, dude. You've been on the other side of things, man. Did you ever poop them out?
I don't remember. It was so long ago.
I sure hope you did, dude.
I
I
would
hope they're not still festering. What if
If
what
you
if they're
would like
in
to
your
know-
stomach dissolving right now and it's like they've almost
that's not
they have
possible.
almost
You guys looked over
dissolved.
me and I was foaming
There's
at
like
the
one
mouth.
little layer left and then all 10 of them are just popping open. Good
Listen,
night.
I've eaten so many things that you're not supposed to eat just for comedic value. I've eaten
true.
a half a
Eat a
bar.
cherry pit
I
right
once
now.
bit off a half a bar of soap and chewed it and swallowed
That's
it.
safer than a cherry pit.
Just because I thought it'd be funny in the moment. And guess what? It was funny in the moment, but I got acid burns on my tongue. I got acid burn. I got actual acid burn
Imagine what it did
on
to
my
your
tongue.
esophagus.
Yeah, I'm gonna die any day now.
You're sitting here
Like,
worried
for
about
real.
caffeine.
Yeah, you're
dude.
worried
No
about
wonder my heart rate's so high.
You're worried about your little caffeine intake, man.
Yeah, dude, you got Irish.
You got cyanide
his
mixed with bar soap.
His stomach's
What-
an Irish
what-
Spring right now.
It's
brutal.
Yeah, I don't even.
I heard yesterday that you
I'm gonna
can
die any
use
day now.
Irish Spring soap apparently to repel ants if you rub it on like
makes sense.
doorways and stuff.
That's interesting.
That's fun.
You can use baking soda.
Every time you
I
walk,
learned- hey,
every time
hey,
you walk
good
through your
news
door,
for
you just
you
go
guys.
little Irish Spring. That's nice.
Good news for you guys. I learned that a lot of Old Spice deodorant is aluminum free.
Get
There you
wrecked.
go. You guys can have that. You guys can use your deodorant.
Mine's not.
Mine is.
Dang.
My one I have. I didn't realize it was. I wanted the aluminium, if you will.
Mine's actually uses
Aluminum.
aluminum foil in a bar.
Yeah, I'm
that's
just gonna
good.
start
Aluminum
using-
foil is also very bad for you. Isn't that fun?
I love aluminum foil.
The less you know, the better. Is what I've learned with this world.
That's
That's
right.
not always. Oh, I understand that.
That's true
point
in
of
every
view. I understand that
situation.
point of view.
Ignorance is
I understand that point
Ignorance
of
is always bliss.
I don't know anything outside of these walls.
Well,
I just
except for,
come
like,
into
the
work
people
and
that
this
were,
is my-
like,
this is my bubble.
view. Working with like the Tin Man. I bet he would have liked to have known that thing about the lead poisoning and stuff.
What?
What?
You guys don't know the guy that acted as the Tin Man in The Wizard of Oz? He died very shortly after filming that movie, like months, because of lead poisoning, because they used lead paint to paint his skin.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh!
Ignorant was not bliss in that situation.
No, it wasn't bliss,
Well, in the moment,
bro. They thought
while
that
he was acting.
Also, there's a lot of people that didn't know cigarettes were bad for him. I bet the ignorant wasn't
lead
quite
and
bliss
like
for
I
them.
saw a video
lead
on
and mercury.
Instagram.
Like they really got out those things.
True,
out of
all
there.
the mercury factories that women worked in, where like tons of women died because they were working at mercury factories.
Do they still use mercury in thermometers?
I believe so.
I don't think they do. Well, like I know you can buy ones that don't because I know they're not putting mercury in like kids' classrooms. Like that would just like that.
Well,
just seems-
whenever my
when
dad
I
was a
was in
kid,
school.
whenever my dad was a
Well,
kid,
sure,
and
but-
he was in science class, part of their science class was like holding and playing with mercury.
yeah.
Like legit, they were like, "Look at this substance, isn't it so crazy?" And all the kids are passing around just raw mercury.
I saw this
The
video.
retail sale of mercury thermometers has been banned or restricted in at least 18 states.
Wow.
That was in 2011. So, yeah.
I saw this video on Instagram the other day that was like a news thing when they banned drinking while driving. So I would assume being drunk and driving was already banned at this point, but they banned drinking while driving.
That's a really fun. That's
And
kinda
it was
funny.
hilarious seeing people. This dude, he was on there. He was like, so you're telling me I got to get off my 12, 13-hour shift and I can't pop 2-3 beers on the way home now? Like, this is just ridiculous. That's part of my freedoms.
just falling apart, man.
Yeah, like it was just everyone who was just like drinking. I just drinking a Bud Light or whatever was the beer back then. On your car ride home was just like your normal thing.
That was their day, man.
They were just like, I mean, this is ridiculous. Like, how am I supposed to unwind after work on my car ride home?
I once was at a bachelor party, not a crazy bachelor party at all, but we were gonna go get in this guy's truck to go. This guy I did not know very well, to go to a store or something like that to get like snacks. And we get in the truck, and he's like, "Anybody want a drink?" And he pulls out of the cooler in his passenger seat a Modelo,
Heck yeah.
puts in his cup holder, and begins to drive down the road and is drinking this Modelo. And I said, I think I left my phone back at the house. I think I'm going to, if you wouldn't mind stopping here, I'm going to go get it. Also, you guys go ahead and go on without me. I've got to make a phone call. And I got out. And I went back to the house and I stayed there because I was like,
crazy, dude.
I don't know what's about to go down, but I don't want to be a part of it.
Open container, just in the car, drinking and driving.
Those are not crowds I hang out with. This was just a bachelor party I was at because of this one guy I knew, and apparently his friends I didn't know at all. And those are not people I hang out with.
Sounds like you were hanging out with them.
I was in that. You're right. In that moment, I was hanging out with them.
That's like, man, disc golf's changed quite drastically. Also, the laws have changed where marijuana isn't really like decriminalized in Virginia. But rewind back like 7 years, 8 years when I first started playing disc golf, you could still get in trouble if you were just like had marijuana on your possession if you didn't have a license and all that. And also, every disc golf tournament was just like people were just smoking it. You know what I mean?
Giant hot box.
It was, yeah. And so there was like a few times where I would be at a course and like to get to hole 9, you got to hop in a car and ride with someone, or like I let people in my car to ride with me to whatever. And then I was like just talking about like I was telling, I forget who it was, it might have been Liz or Lizzie's family. We weren't married at the time, but like someone was asking me something about, I forget what they were asking, but somehow disc golfers doing like smoking weed during rounds and stuff came up. I was like, oh yeah, it's super common. Like pretty much every tournament you play, someone's like, hey, you guys mind? And I'm always like, no, I don't care. Like, who cares? You do what you want. And so I was like, yeah, it happens all the time. And then my brother-in-law, back then, he was just dating my Lizzie's twin sister. He was like, you don't let anyone in your car with that stuff, right? And I was like, yeah, why on earth would I say no to someone riding with me to a tournament or whatever? He's like, well, what if they leave something behind? And I was like, huh? He's like, well, just imagine if you got pulled over, like, if a cop asked to search your car, what are you saying? I was like, I'd probably be like, yeah, go ahead. Like, I don't care. I got nothing to hide. He's like, yeah, and you don't have nothing to hide. But what if like someone just like had their bag of weed and just left it in your passenger seat? I was like, that is a solid point that I've never thought through.
Yeah. That'd be the worst thing ever.
Like, I just was picturing in that moment me just like getting pulled over for speeding, the cop seeing a disc golf sticker on the back of my car and being like, oh, we got him. Let me search your car. And I'd be like, sure thing, officer.
Or you'd be like, no, sir, show me the warrant.
Well, I would have 100%, especially back then.
Legal cause,
I would have 100% been like, oh, sure. Like,
you had legal cause. There was a gateway sticker.
Yeah, there was. I had a Discraft sticker on my car, man.
It probably wasn't marijuana leaf.
Yeah.
No, I would have 100% been like, yeah, sure thing. And then I was like, just thinking through, I'm like, that easily could have happened to me. I'm sure there was never stuff left behind, but like I used to picture my face if the cop like was searching my passenger seat and was like, put your hands behind your back, son.
That's a bad day.
I'm like, what?
And he's like, someone left a caprese salad in my car.
I'm like, that's not mine. I'm like, that's not mine. He goes, oh, so it's just conveniently sitting in your car. Yeah. Likely story. I'm like, oh my gosh.
I want my lawyer.
Yeah. So nothing changed. I still I wasn't going to tell people, no, you can't ride with me.
If you wouldn't mind, would you please not drop your weed in my car?
Yeah, I wasn't going to turn into that guy where I'm like, hey, sorry.
You may ride with me, but your weed must be duct taped to your body.
Yeah. I wasn't going to turn into that guy, so nothing changed. I just probably would have said no if a cop asked to search my car.
For the sound effect, let's be the judge giving Hunter his sentence for somebody else's weed in his car.
All right.
I'll start.
Go ahead.
In the case of Hunter Thomas v. the state of Virginia, we, the people, find you guilty of possession of marijuana and charge you to 2 consecutive life sentences with 0 chance of parole. There you go. That's what you got.
Here's mine.
Next time, don't let the
mine's gonna be a little bit more old timey.
Okay.
Here. I declare Hunter Christian Thomas. Is that your middle name?
That is my middle name.
Hunter Christian
Thanks for
Thomas.
doxing me, bro.
Social security card number of what's your social? I don't need it for this sake.
479-16.
Guilty for being a dirty pothead. All right, boys, it's time for the death sentence. Bring out the cherry pits.
I'll do a more modern interpretation.
Okay, good.
So you're telling me all we got on this guy is a bag of wheat? Oh. He ran a red light. You got to go to, if you want this off your record, you're going to have to go to a correctional course. It's like an 8-hour thing with a bunch of high schoolers for running the red light, man. And then we'll get it off your record.
True story.
That's it. I did have to do that. I ran a red light.
Bad person
had to
Hunter.
go to a correctional course, a driving course, and my car got totaled on the way there. That's all.
That's not